So the next few slides are going to give us some questions we can ask to establish rapport and identify needs. There's kind of a blurry line between the rapport and the needs phase of a presentation. You can ask people how they're doing, but quickly you're going to probably get started talking about their goals, their intentions, their time frame, what they're hoping to accomplish with the move. So these questions will give you some ideas on what to ask. You certainly don't need to ask all of them. A lot of times just a couple will get the conversation started and you can move forward with the conversation. So a few ideas for you to just get the conversation started. How long have you been looking? You know, if somebody comes to you and asks you about a house, or you get a call on your listing that you have, that's a great question to ask. If you've determined that they are a seller, that they have a home to sell, that yes, they're looking for homes, but you know, turns out they have a home to sell. Have you had your home appraised? Are you familiar with the new financing that can help you achieve your goal? That is a great lead-in question to set an appointment and talk about financing with a lender. Are you originally from the area? This is just a great question to kind of get familiar with them as people, and also it can help with motivation as far as how soon they want to buy, what they might be looking for. What appealed to you about this particular home? This is a great question to ask to kind of figure out what they're looking for, to get the conversation started on, you know, maybe they want a house in a rural area, or they like a fenced yard or something like that. So that will help you get that conversation started. More questions on the next slide. What area of town are you interested in? You want to, of course, ask where they're looking. And that is something we need to know, and be sure you let them lead that conversation. Don't ever try and guess where they might want to live. What features are you most interested in? Here's a fun question. May I ask if you're enjoying your search? Sometimes they're not, and they'll be honest with you about that. They are frustrated. Maybe they've written several offers and haven't been able to get a home yet. So that's a great question to, maybe if they've written several offers and haven't been able to buy one, chances are they don't understand the market we're in, and they don't understand that they need to write a very high offer to get what they want. So that's a great way to say, hey, let's sit down. I'd love to go over the realities of the current market with you and show you what you need to do to get the home of your dreams. Do you use the multiple listing service? I don't know that I'd use that question, but if you're desperate, you can go for it. Next slide, some more questions for you. Are fixer-uppers okay, or would you prefer something that's move-in ready? This one is funny. It's not a really good question, because I can't tell you how many people have told me, oh, yes, they're willing to do work, but you show them a house that needs some carpet, and no, they're not interested. So I ignore that. Some people are true fixer-upper people, but most people are not, especially first-time home buyers. They want and need something that's move-in ready, because they typically don't have the cash to fix it up. Have you written any have you written any offers on homes yet? That's probably a really good question in this market, to kind of determine where they're at in how they understand what's going on. It's also a great question to figure out if they're working with another agent. You are going to need to ask whether they're working with somebody else. You know, if they have a contract with someone, you certainly do not want to interfere with that, and you would need to encourage them to go and work with the person they've started working with. Do you have a certain price range in mind? Great question. a lot of times they really don't know, especially new buyers. A better question might be, what would you like your payment to be? Because sometimes they don't have a good feel for what payment matches up with what price range. So you want to get an understanding of both. Sometimes they're approved for, $400,000 house, but they don't want to spend that much on a monthly basis. They want to spend what a $200,000 house, what that payment might be. Do you have a time frame in mind? This is an important question. It doesn't mean, if they're looking to buy in a year, it doesn't mean you don't want to sit down with them. The sooner the better. If they want to buy in 5 years, I want to sit down with them now and start building that relationship, start finding out what their needs are. And more often than not, they usually move up their time frame. So if you wait and call them in a year or 5 years, or whatever they tell you, you'll find that most of the time they've already bought a house. So get in there, set an appointment with them, and get to know them a little bit, and just explain the process and have some fun with it. Next slide is a few more questions for you. Do you have any questions about payments and price range? This is where you might want to review your financing class so you know what kind of payment matches up with what price range, so you can help them with that. Of course, setting a time to meet with a lender is also a good idea. It's a great way to close for an appointment, is to go ahead and have them meet with a lender. Do you have a home to sell? This is a really important question if they're calling you about a house that you may have listed, because you don't want to waste anybody's time showing a house if they're not ready to buy. And in this market, contingent offers are useless. So the dialogue there is, if they have a home to sell, you want to say, I don't want to waste your time showing you this. Let's sit down and talk about the process, and maybe start the process by getting your home on the market. Are you comfortable calling different realtors? So this was an old question that we had in here. And maybe people will still be doing that. Maybe people will, and maybe more now with the new settlement rules and all. And maybe there'll be people who just don't want to commit to buying a house with one agent, so they're going to call around. Great question to ask. Are you comfortable doing that? Are you comfortable calling the agent who's working for the seller and trying to negotiate with that person? May I ask why you're looking for a home? This is a question you might not want to jump straight into. It's a little delicate, sometimes there's life situations that people don't want to talk about. So that one is something you may want to ask after you've gotten to know them a little better. And usually they'll tell you anyway once they get to know you that they had a divorce, a death, or something like that is causing them to move. But a lot of times it's wonderful life situations that are compelling people to buy a new house. So that's cool too.